I've heard at 3 o'clock in the morning, been the only one in here at 3 o'clock in the morning, heard people run across this floor. And I come up here and there was nobody here. The door was locked. There was no one here. I was back here in the back in the kitchen, and there's just a flat top refrigerator with no lip, I mean with a lip on the end of it so nothing can slide off. And this pan came off that one day and just came off of that and just sailed across the room. No reason. There was no wind. The doors were closed. There was, you know, there's no scientific explanation for it. So I got to believe it was something other than scientific, you know. It has to be supernatural. I don't know.
Another incident, there was a bartender worked here, and he walked by to go lock the door, and he was the only one in here, seeing a cowboy in a duster leaning up against the bar. And he said, "You're going to have to leave, and I'm closing up." When he got to the door, he realized that he was the only one in there. He turned back and looked, and he went across the street and called the manager and told him, "You can go lock the Big Nose case up. I'm not going back over there anymore." He hadn't been back since.
I watched a girl, a bartender here that I bartended with, walk down this bar by herself, nobody around her, and she went, "Ooh," like somebody pinched her in the butt. I watched this, and he did. We've got a nickname for the ghost here, and we call him Felix. And it's real. He's just as real as I am. I am positive that there's at least one ghost in here. I'm positive. There's no doubt in my mind. He's here. And every one of us has felt him. He's messed with the waitresses. He's elevated drinks up off the little tray they hold. I mean, they didn't trip over anybody, didn't bump into anybody. The drink come up and hit them in the chest. Or come up and hit somebody in the face. That's happened several times in here.
Behind every ghost, there is a story. And behind every story, there's a legend. And the legend doing the rounds at Big Nose Kate's is about a man who lived in the 1800s in the basement of the Grand Hotel.
Whenever the hotel was here in the 1870s, he was a handyman. He worked downstairs in the basement, and they referred to him as a swamper.
And so this handyman earned his keep at the Grand Hotel by doing odd jobs. A quiet, honest man with honest intentions. But as the saying goes, still waters run deep. Well below the surface, the hotel's basement ran slap-bang into one of the cemetery mine shafts. There's a maze of tunnels underneath most of Tombstone.
You could go down in one spot and come out 5 different spots in town.
Here in his secret domain where the swamper spent painstaking hours over a number of years tunneling an entrance into one of the mine shafts. When the dig was complete, the swamper had access to all the silver he wanted. So the story goes that somewhere in the basement of the hotel is this heap of silver nuggets hoarded in a secret nook. And now, in his afterlife, the swamper safeguards his fortune.
We excavated this hole right here for this for the new basement bar we're going to build down there. I was there from the start to the finish, and I dug all this hole and stuff. And things just kept happening, and things kept happening, and things kept happening. The machinery would break down, somebody would fall and get hurt. I fell and got hurt. Something would always happen. There was always something in the mix. What I believe is he didn't want us digging in there trying to find his treasure. I believe he was hiding something down in there.
We've had employees that have had to access the downstairs basement stairs, and they've actually felt their ankle being grabbed on the 2nd or 3rd step from the bottom.
I never have been a big believer in the supernatural at all. I believe that. You have to make me a believer. I got to see it. And I have felt, I mean, the goosebumps have come up. I felt icy winds in here, you know. Just an icy wind in the middle of a 100-degree day. Now, come on. Explain that to me.
We didn't have to go too far from Big Nose Kate's to get another chill down the spine. And this time, love, jealousy, and rage add to an inconsolable gloom that hovers over the Buford house.
In the upstairs hall, it is like a man with cowboy boots on, and he's walking the hall back and forth, and it's like it's on a hardwood floor. The only problem there is that it's carpet. It's not hardwood.
Who hasn't experienced a moment of madness in a love affair? But sometimes that rage spirals uncontrollably toward disaster and even death. The only problem is what seems to be the only solution at the time, more often than not, extends the heartache. And in some cases, it's a heartache that lasts forever.
There was a young lady named Cleopatra Edmonds who dated a young man by the name of Miller who lived in this house. And he lived in the upstairs bedroom. So the story goes was that Cleopatra went to a social without her boyfriend Miller. And when he found out about it, He went across the street to a house across the street, and she was on the front porch, and he shot her and came back and went upstairs and shot himself. He killed himself, but the girl lived. And if you walk into that room upstairs, if you are sensitive in any way, you will walk in and out of cold spots so that he's making his presence known.
Even shops that have been upgraded to fit in with modern times don't escape the consequences of Tombstone's turbulent history. Madame Mustache is no exception.
There's been several incidences where, from time to time, hats have been knocked off. We've had things removed. One morning I was sitting over here. Ross was way in the back. Patty was way in the back. The store was still closed. And the next thing I know, on this floor, I heard somebody walking up towards me. And if you could probably tell, when you walk on this floor, there's no mistaking that you can hear it. Okay, this was originally the vacant lot in the livery stable for the Grand Hotel before the Grand Hotel was destroyed partially by fire. When we start moving stuff around over in here, we notice that the ghost gets real active. And there's some speculation on our part if he was not perhaps somebody that worked at the livery stable or vacant lot that got killed.
And this was not a peaceful town back in the 1880s. It was a very robust town full of a lot of crime. There were 110 bars at one time up and down this street. It was the busiest city between St. Louis, Missouri and San Francisco, California, which a lot of people didn't realize how busy this city was.
The OK Corral, better known for one of the West's most infamous gun battles between the Clantons and the Earps, a textbook example of the violence and bloodshed that ruled the day. And it's here in the OK Corral where the area lends itself to an air of uneasiness. If there were any spirits here, none of them had reason to be friendly.
So we had a psychic come down, and she didn't like the area at all over in there. She says there's lots of entities over there, bound to be Indians, everything. This is an old country. A lot of hard luck stories and a lot of tragedies. Sad. It's a sad place.
Contrary to what Hollywood makes them out to be, ghosts are not malicious or in the least bit cranky. Poltergeists, on the other hand.
Poltergeists are entirely different entities from what we commonly refer to as ghosts. Poltergeists are the ones who actually pick up china, chairs, furniture, and slam them across the room.
And we found one in the OK Corral, trapped in the Aztec house, a place brimming with hatred towards women.
I refuse to go back in there. It does not like women. Women have no place in that building.
Gabriel Brett has lived in Tombstone for the past 30 years and is no stranger to the town's spiritual energies.
When I first came here, I went over to the Aztec house with a realtor, and I intended to buy it because I thought it'd be a good place for my antique doll museum, which I intended to open. When I went in the hall. This is in '66, and there was a terrible pressure and a terrible odor and very, very cold. And this was in July, and it was 103 outside. So I said right then to the realtor, I don't want this place. And I turned around and I left. Then in '70, the place had been sold to a pair of friends of mine, two boys, two gentlemen. They opened an antique house over there and had a little apartment in the back. So the whole thing was a lovely place. But when they went to California, they wanted me to stay over there at night to guard the place. I don't know what, I had a little toy poodle. I don't know what they thought I could do, but I'm sure I would have done something had something happened.
Gabriel agreed, although reluctant.
And off of this small room was a small bathroom that I could stay up front and not have to go